Let's face it, folks, hurricanes are a fact of life down here in Texas. Every year, we brace ourselves for the inevitable storm season, knowing full well that these natural disasters can strike with little warning and leave a trail of destruction in their wake. We're smack dab in the middle of Hurricane Alley, a notorious stretch where these powerful storms love to make landfall. And these storms can pack a serious punch, with winds that can uproot trees and tear roofs off buildings. We're talking torrential rains that can turn streets into rivers, devastating winds that can flatten entire neighborhoods, and floods that can swallow your pickup truck whole. Now, most folks think about their homes when it comes to hurricane damage, but your car, it's just as vulnerable. In fact, your vehicle can suffer just as much, if not more, from the wrath of a hurricane. And that's where things get tricky. You might think your car insurance has you covered, but that's not always the case. You see, standard auto insurance policies often leave drivers high and dry when a hurricane hits. Comprehensive coverage is what you need to protect against natural disasters, but not everyone has it. That's right, the insurance you pay for might not cover the damage those howling winds and rising waters can inflict on your ride. Imagine coming out after a storm to find your car submerged or battered, only to discover your policy doesn't cover the damage. We're talking about a potential financial nightmare here, folks. Repairing or replacing a vehicle can cost thousands of dollars, and without the right insurance, that money comes straight out of your pocket. Think about it. Your car's not just a hunk of metal, it's your lifeline. It's what gets you to work, gets the kids to school, and gets you out of harm's way when the skies start to darken. It's an essential part of your daily life, and losing it to a hurricane can disrupt everything. Imagine trying to navigate life without your car. It's a daunting thought, isn't it? So, before the next hurricane season rolls around, let's get you up to speed on how to protect your ride and your wallet. Make sure you review your insurance policy. Consider upgrading to comprehensive coverage, and take steps to safeguard your vehicle. It's better to be prepared than to be caught off guard when the next big storm hits. Stay safe, Texas drivers. All right, let's get down to brass tacks and talk about what your standard Texas auto insurance policy actually covers when it comes to hurricanes. Now, most basic policies cover damage from a collision, right? Fender benders, that sort of thing. But hurricanes, they're a whole different beast. See, your basic policy might cover damage from a tree falling on your car during a storm. But what about flood damage? That's where things get murky. Most standard policies don't cover what they call acts of God. And guess what? Hurricanes fall squarely into that category. That means if your car gets swamped by floodwaters, you could be left high and dry, literally, with a hefty repair bill and no coverage. And trust me, flood damage ain't cheap. We're talking about engine replacements, electrical system overhauls, the whole 9 yards. So, how do you bridge the gap and make sure your car's covered when a hurricane barrels through? That's where endorsements come in. Think of them as add-ons to your basic policy, extra layers of protection for your ride. First off, you need what's called comprehensive coverage. This covers damage to your car that's not caused by a collision, like, you guessed it, hurricane damage. We're talking about damage from wind, hail, even flying debris. But here's the kicker, comprehensive coverage usually doesn't include flood damage. For that, you need to add flood insurance to your policy. This is crucial, folks, especially here in Texas, where flooding is a real threat during hurricane season.
Now, some insurance companies offer what they call hurricane-specific endorsements. These can cover things like evacuation expenses or even provide you with a rental car if yours is out of commission.
Remember Hurricane Harvey back in 2017? It was one of the most devastating natural disasters in recent history. That storm dumped trillions of gallons of water on Texas, leaving a trail of destruction in its wake. Entire neighborhoods were submerged, and the infrastructure was severely damaged. And let me tell you, the stories from that storm are about as heartbreaking as they come. Families were torn apart, and lives were changed forever. I talked to folks who lost everything, their homes, their belongings, their cars, all swallowed up by the floodwaters. The emotional toll was immense, and the financial burden was overwhelming.
One guy, a hardworking contractor, told me about his brand new pickup truck. He was so proud of it, a symbol of his hard work and dedication. He'd just bought it, hadn't even made the first payment yet. It was supposed to be the start of a new chapter for him. Harvey came and went, and his truck was underwater, a total loss. The floodwaters showed no mercy, and his dreams were literally submerged. Turns out, he didn't have flood insurance. He was devastated. All his hard work seemed to have gone down the drain, quite literally.
Another woman I spoke with, a single mom, had her car swept away in the flood. She was already struggling to make ends meet. She relied on that car to get to work, take her kids to school, everything. It was her lifeline, her means of providing for her family. Without it, she was stuck. She couldn't get to her job, couldn't take her kids to their activities. It was a nightmare scenario. She had comprehensive coverage, but no flood insurance. She thought she was covered for everything, but she learned the hard way that wasn't the case. She learned the hard way that a standard policy just doesn't cut it when it comes to hurricanes. The fine print can make all the difference, and unfortunately, she found out too late. These stories are just a few examples of the countless lives affected by Hurricane Harvey. The importance of understanding your insurance coverage cannot be overstated. It's not just about having insurance, it's about having the right insurance. In the aftermath, communities came together to rebuild, but the scars left by the storm will take years to heal. The lessons learned from Harvey are a stark reminder of the power of nature and the importance of preparedness. So, take the time to review your policies, understand what they cover, and make sure you're prepared for the unexpected. Because when disaster strikes, it's too late to make changes.
I also had the chance to talk to some insurance adjusters, the folks who are on the ground after a hurricane assessing the damage and helping people file claims. They've seen it all, and let me tell you, they had some eye-opening insights.
One adjuster told me that the biggest mistake people make is waiting until the last minute to think about insurance. By then, it's too late. Hurricane season rolls around and everyone's scrambling to get coverage.
He said the best time to review your policy and make sure you've got the right coverage is before hurricane season even starts.
Another adjuster stressed the importance of documenting everything. Take pictures of your car, inside and out, before a storm hits. Keep your insurance information and important documents in a safe place. That way, if the worst happens, you've got everything you need to file a claim.
All right, let's get practical. What can you do to protect your car before a hurricane even threatens to make landfall? Hurricanes can be unpredictable and devastating, but with the right preparation, you can minimize the damage to your vehicle. Here's your hurricane car prep checklist, a series of steps designed to ensure your car is as protected as possible when the storm hits.
First, review your policy. Dust off that insurance policy and read it carefully. Make sure you understand what is covered and what isn't. Do you have comprehensive and collision coverage? These are crucial for covering hurricane-related damages. What about flood insurance? If not, call your agent and get covered. Flooding is a common issue during hurricanes, and you don't want to be caught without this essential coverage.
Next, document everything. Take pictures of your car from every angle, inside and out. This includes the exterior, interior, and any existing damages. This will be crucial if you need to file a claim. Having detailed photos can expedite the claims process and ensure you get the compensation you deserve.
Gather your documents. Keep your insurance policy, registration, and other important documents in a waterproof bag or container. This will protect them from water damage and ensure they are accessible when you need them most.
And of course, fuel up. Don't wait until the last minute to fill up your tank. Long lines and fuel shortages are common as a hurricane approaches. Gas stations may be closed or out of fuel during a hurricane. Having a full tank ensures you can evacuate if necessary and avoid being stranded.
Lastly, park strategically. If you can, park your car in a garage or on higher ground. This can protect it from flooding and flying debris. Avoid parking under trees or power lines. These can fall during the storm and cause significant damage to your vehicle. By following these steps, you can help ensure your car is as safe as possible during a hurricane.
So, the hurricane's bearing down and you're hunkered down at home. What about your car? First and foremost, stay put. Do not try to drive during a hurricane. The roads are dangerous and visibility is poor. It's just not worth the risk. Also, monitor the news. Keep an eye on the news and weather reports for updates on the storm's path and intensity. And be prepared for flooding. If you live in a flood-prone area, be prepared to move your car to higher ground if necessary. The storm has passed and thankfully you're safe, but your car? Not so much. Here's what to do. First, assess the damage. Take a close look at your car and document any damage with photos and videos. Next, contact your insurance company. Call your insurance company as soon as possible to report the damage and start the claims process. Lastly, be patient. Insurance claims can take time to process, especially after a major hurricane. Be patient and persistent, and keep all your documentation organized. Look, hurricanes are a part of life here in Texas. But that doesn't mean you have to be caught off guard. By understanding your auto insurance policy, getting the right coverage, and taking the right steps to prepare, you can protect your ride and your wallet when the next storm hits. Remember, folks, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Stay safe out there.